Hey everyone, welcome to the road to Avengers Doomsday. I'm Jonathan, and every single month I'm going back through the MCU, revisiting each movie and showing you how to make custom LEGO minifigures from every single Marvel film leading up to the culmination in Avengers Doomsday. We've made it a long way so far, so be sure to hit like and subscribe, and let's get into today's movie starting now. Alright guys, as we travel through the MCU historically, we've come to Captain Marvel, and crazy enough, today is actually my birthday, so yeah, what a way to celebrate. Anyways, in this video, of course, I'll be showing you how to make the main characters from Captain Marvel using LEGO parts and pieces, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, it might be a little bit weird that the first character we're looking at is Janet Van Dyne from Ant-Man and the Wasp, but if you've been following along, I actually forgot to include this figure in the last showcase. I made it, I just forgot to include the footage, so everyone's human. It's terrible that I forgot, but hey, at least we're here now and we can correct the record. So the head comes from the older Princess Leia from the sequel trilogy. As you can see, the torso is flipped around from one of the Resistance troopers from the sequel trilogy as well. I think the legs come from some kind of sequel trilogy alien, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, they were just printed legs I had in my collection. Actually, I think they're the legs that go with this torso, if I'm not mistaken. Then, of course, she's got the white hair that's braided in the back. So, yeah, not too many pieces used here, but let's get into the Captain Marvel stuff now. Alright, so up first we've got Carol, aka Vers, in her Kree suit. Now, crazy enough, this was briefly a Comic-Con exclusive minifigure, but it did appear in a poly bag a little bit later, so thankfully it is relatively easy to find, although the price has been going up over the years. I, of course, kept the hair, head, and torso exactly the same from the sets, and the only thing I changed here, just to add some extra detail, are these printed legs from Mr. Freeze from the Lego Batman movie. I don't know that it's entirely necessary to add these, but I did want to make some kind of an upgrade, so that's what I did here. Alright, up next we've got Yon Rogg, and since I made my showcase on Captain Marvel years ago, we actually have a much more accurate headpiece here for Jude Law. Thankfully, he is now in Star Wars by way of Skeleton Crew, so in that new Skeleton Crew set, we get this great head and hair combo that I recommend using here. Then, of course, the torso and legs are the same from the figure that I just mentioned. Then, of course, we've got the other Kree soldiers that Carol fights alongside, and these were a lot of fun to make. Granted, you're going to need a lot of those torsos that I just mentioned, and that is from a set that retired many years ago, so you'll have to find them somewhere like eBay or Bricklink or something like that. That being said, I did make a slight upgrade to Korath, who you'll remember not only from this movie, but also Guardians of the Galaxy, and I don't know that it's entirely necessary, but I just tried to add some black arms, black legs, and gray hands, just to kind of change up the color scheme a little bit. Again, not totally necessary, but just cool to show you what else you could do. That being said, this head actually comes from the Lego Batman movie, from the Gotham City Police accessory pack. I did use the eraser method to take off the sideburns, because this is also the same head I used for Luke Cage. Bumping over, we actually have Braun Char. I had to look up their names, and that's the dude with the beard. I gave him the Doctor Who hair with this head from the Lego store Build a Minifigure station a while back. It's just a blue head. I don't know what else there is to say about that. We've got a Dumbledore beard here, and then, of course, the body and legs from that poly bag. The body and legs from the poly bag will be used on the remaining three characters. Of course, our next one being Minerva. She's got black hair and the head from Aayla Secura from Star Wars. Then we also have Atlas, or Atlas, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but for him, I used Finn's hair with the head from the most recent version of Grand Admiral Thrawn. Of course, there are lots of options you could use for blue heads, so if you guys have other ideas, you can let me know in the comments down below. Of course, for the Supreme Intelligence, you could go ahead and put her in one of those suits, but to keep things moving and show you different outfits, what I used here are dark blue legs for her jeans, the torso from Indiana Jones from this 2023 wave of sets, then the head comes from Queenie from Harry Potter, with this hair, which I think came on Mrs. Scratch and Post from the Lego movie, if I'm not mistaken, but it has come in lots of other places as well. Alright, we've got tons and tons of Skrulls in this movie, and the Skrulls, you know, there's tons of them, and you're gonna need tons of Skrull minifigs if you want to army build. That being said, I don't have tons, but we did get this really good Talos minifig from the Captain Marvel movie set back in the day, and I would just suggest army building him if you want to get a ton of Skrulls for your Marvel collection, but Regardless, it's a great minifig on its own. I think I actually switched out the legs. If I remember correctly, I think he has black legs, but it doesn't really matter. Whatever you want to do works just fine here. All right, up next, we've got young Nick Fury and Goose. Goose is just the standard cat that has come in lots of LEGO sets over the years, and young Nick Fury actually doesn't have any upgrades made to him. He's the exact figure that came in the Captain Marvel polybag, as well as the set. The only thing I added, of course, is the Captain Marvel pager piece, which came in the Avengers Tower set. Definitely a cool Easter egg. It makes a lot of sense to include here. I guess this was the last time we saw Agent Coulson in a movie, even if it was set in the past, so it is cool to see him back again. And of course, we did get an official Agent Coulson minifigure back in 2017, so that's what I would suggest using here. Okay, next we have S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Keller, and of course, that is actually Talos in his human disguise. I did go ahead and use this torso from Harry Osborn from Spider-Man back in 2004, Spider-Man 2 more specifically. I don't really think it matters what suit you use, I just like the gray. The more accurate piece you want to use here, of course, is the head and hair, which came from director Krennic from Star Wars Rogue One, because it's played by the same actor, and anytime I can use the same actor's head for different things in different movies, I tried to do that, so that's what we're doing here. All right, up next we have Carol in her 9 Inch Nails kind of casual outfit. Of course, there's no 9 Inch Nails torso in LEGO form that's official, so I used the torso from Mutt Williams from Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull with these kind of like powder blue legs for her jeans that match. The head is the regular Captain Marvel head, and this hat, while it doesn't have the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo like we see in the movie, it does have some blonde hair on the sides, and her hair isn't in a ponytail, but from straight on it works really well for photos and videos and stuff. And I actually don't quite recall where that's from, maybe from like one of the animal workers from the CMF series, but I'm sure a LEGO expert in the comments will remind us all. All right, up next we have Maria and Monica Rambeau. Now, something interesting here is Maria Rambeau was exclusive to the Comic-Con Captain Marvel set. That one did remain exclusive. That being said, the torso is also from Star Wars. The only exclusive thing was the head on this figure. Unfortunately for me, I actually think I misplaced the head when I was making customs over the years. I think I swapped it out and it's not on the figure. The head that's on there looks an awful lot like the official figure, but it's not the actual one. So it's here somewhere, but I don't know where it is, and go figure. This is a very valuable and rare figure, and I lost one of the pieces. It's here somewhere. I'm sure it'll turn up eventually, but I'm sure you guys can imagine how many minifigure heads and pieces are in my collection, so it might take a long time before I find it. Anyways, that being said, you can build this on your own. It's the Harry Potter hair, and then you could use the face from Monica Rambeau from the LEGO Marvel CMF Series 1. This is actually not what I used here. I used an alternate face, but this torso comes from Star Wars, as do the legs. For Maria Rambeau, I actually used for Monica Rambeau, this is Maria. For Monica, I used the hair and head from the actual Monica. Yeah, it's when she's an adult, but I think it works pretty well for when she's a kid too. I flipped around the torso from Will Byers from Stranger Things, but you could really use whatever you want, with red arms, matching hands, and short blue legs. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for, Captain Marvel in her final suit, I guess. I really like this minifigure. It, of course, uses the 2020 Captain Marvel helmet and mohawk hairpiece with the official Captain Marvel torso from the sets. The head underneath, of course, is the Captain Marvel head. The printed arms come from the Iron Spider from Infinity War, and the legs come from Spider-Man from Homecoming, as well as Civil War, actually, crazy enough. And they also came on the Far From Home version of Spider-Man 2. So I think when you add all of that together, it makes for a really great Captain Marvel minifig, and I love the way this one looks. And finally, we've got Ronan the Accuser, and I changed up the look of this a lot from the last showcase all those years ago. This time around, I actually used the 2012 Loki torso and legs because I think that it's starting to look kind of dated. I really liked the Loki torso and legs back in the day, but we've gotten so much better looks for Loki that I don't even really associate this with Loki as much as I do, or maybe as much as I did. So putting dark green arms and black hands on that really helps make those green colors on this pop, and I think it works really well for Ronan from this era. I also built his, Warhammer here, which of course you can see with the cheese slope, the 1x1 piece with the stud, and then of course the handle. The hood piece here comes from Ronan from the 2014 Guardian sets, while the head comes from Ronan from the 2023 Rocket's Warbird, as does the cape here. So I think that turned out really well for Ronan, and honestly, I think a lot of these customs turned out pretty strong, so let's go ahead and round out the video and call it a day. Alright guys, let me know what you think about this video, and of course, now that we've made Captain Marvel, that means the next one is Endgame. Whew, I've got my work cut out for me. I am looking forward to it and dreading it at the same time. But dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. I can't wait. I'm super excited. I'll see you guys on the next videos, and until next time, build on.